Hey there, I wanted to take a minute to chat with you about some of the biggest mistakes that I see photographers make with Facebook ads. I see this time and time again with clients that I've worked with photographers in Facebook groups, and so on. I just want to kind of address some of them. The first one that I see photographers doing all the time is selling upfront. Now, let me give you an example to what that means. So let's say that you go and get a coffee somewhere and you're standing in line chatting, and you're standing in line with somebody and you walk up to them while you're waiting and say, "Hi, my name is so-and-so. I shoot boudoir photography. Would you like to take off all your clothes and let me take pictures of you?" Now, I know that you're thinking right away like, wow, that's such a creepy thing to do, right? Well, that's what a lot of photographers do with their Facebook ads, and not necessarily obviously with like boudoir. It could even be with weddings, like, hey, how about you? Hey, my name is so-and-so. Do you want me to take pictures of like one of the most important days of your life? Like, they're not going to jump on that right off the bat, and that's a problem that a lot of photographers make. This is selling up front. This is basically asking potential clients for their money before they've even gotten a chance to like know you and know who you are and what you do. So here's what you should do instead, right? So social media is social. You have to treat it like a social atmosphere. So let's play this scenario again where you're standing in line waiting to get a coffee, and you strike up a conversation with the lady next to you. You get to talking a little bit and you decide to sit down with her and enjoy your coffee with her. And you're chatting, you chat about her family and that kind of stuff. She asks what you do for a living, and you say, "Oh, I do XYZ type of photography." And they say, "Oh, that's really cool." And you hand them your card when you say goodbye. Now, if you're thinking about it, which one of these scenarios is much more likely to contact you to book? And if you're thinking, oh, it's the second one, you're absolutely right. That's because you took a chance to actually get to know them, talk to them, let them get to know you before you said, "Hey, how about you give me your money?" So that's one of the biggest things that mistakes that photographers make. They do not take the time to establish that know, like, and trust factor. And at the end of the day, people buy from people they know, like, and trust, especially if it's something as personal as photography and comes with as high of a price ticket, because more often than not, your clients are dropping a few grand on what they're buying from you for the experience and the product and so on. So people aren't going to impulse buy that. They're not going to hand that money over to somebody they don't like. So take the time with your ads to let people get to know you. Run ads to things like a helpful article, like how to prep for family sessions, a senior what to wear guide, and that kind of stuff. Position yourself as someone who knows what they're doing, which you obviously do, and let them get a feel for you first before asking for the money. That will go a long ways in helping with ads. Second of all, the other thing I hear photographers say all the time is like, "I spent $2 and my ad ran for 2 minutes and I didn't get any leads. Oh my God, it's not working." It's like, no, that's not how it works. Now, photography ads can be instantaneous in the sense that it takes a very short period of time to put them together. You can put one together in probably less than half an hour, to be perfectly honest. But what people often forget is that Facebook ads are marketing, just like any other type of marketing, right? So it takes time to really work. Like, I think it's something like people need 14 exposures to you and your brand before they actually buy. Facebook ads are no different. Not everybody that sees the ad is going to click on it. Not everybody that clicks on it is going to book with you. Not everybody that signs up for a newsletter is going to book with you, and so on. You need to remember that Facebook ads are marketing, just like every other type of marketing. If you want an example, think of the last time you drove down the highway and you saw a billboard for something you actually wanted. Did you pull over the side of the road and immediately call the number on the billboard? My guess is probably not, because just like everybody else and just like your client, you're busy, you forget, you're doing something else at the time, and like you're probably going to need a few more repetitions before you see it and go, "Oh, hey, yeah, I wanted to call that person." So if you don't call a company based on seeing their ad one time for the first time, you can't expect your clients to do the same. So that's another thing. It's another statistic to keep in mind is as of right now, as of making this video, across all industries across Facebook. So this is across people selling cheaper products, like for a few bucks, to people selling expensive products, like for thousands of dollars. The average conversion is 42 days. That is the average time it takes a potential client or customer to convert across all industries. And since photography is on the higher end of that, more like higher ticket because it's more expensive, you can expect to take quite a while to actually bring in leads and perfect your marketing game. Which brings me to the next one, which is photographers don't test a lot of times. They throw one ad up there, they leave it up there for a few days and it didn't work, and they're like, oh, this never works, it doesn't work, Facebook ads are a scam. And it's like, no, you actually have to take the time to test your ads. Find out what's working. Run 2 different images and ad copy to the same article. See which one performs best over a 2 to 3 week period. Test 2 different articles, test 2 different ad types, whether it's traffic or reach or something like that. Test it and see what works best. Don't just fly by the seat of your pants and pick one and say, I'm going to try this one. And if it doesn't work, say, oh, it doesn't work, it'll never work, and so on. If you've never taken enough time to actually test it, the stats will tell you whether or not it's working. And that's really important when it comes to testing, because if you don't have anything to measure it against, it's really hard to know if it's actually working. The next one, which kind of piggybacks onto the previous point, is photographers don't spend enough. As of right now, and this stuff changes all the time, which is the hard part, anything less than $5 a day is really hard to gain any traction with. But a lot of times I'll see photographers saying, I spent $1 a day for 3 days and I didn't get any leads. It's like, well, of course you didn't. You didn't give the system enough money to work with to actually show the ads to enough people to even make a decision. It can take the algorithm up to a week to really integrate your ad into its system to figure out who it needs to be showing to. So if you're saying I spent like $1 a day for 3 days and it didn't work, well, of course it didn't. Like, the system hasn't even had enough time to work for you. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Like, a minimum ad spend of $5 a day is what you need. I usually do up about $20 a day, especially in the beginning of a campaign, and I split test it. I'll take $10 and test one ad one way, and then take $10 and test a similar ad with maybe a different ad objective or something like that, to see which picks up traction more and which works best. So that's another tip. Another thing that I see photographers doing all the time is not having good landing pages. So that means when somebody clicks on your ad and then goes to another page to do whatever you want them to do, like maybe sign up for something like that, or contact you or something like that, what happens is people get on that page, and then a lot of times photographers will just use a page on their website. But what happens is people click on that link and they get to that page and they check out your menu, and then they check out your portfolio, and then they're checking out, your blog, and by that time they've forgotten what they've even clicked over to your website to do, because there's too many distractions. So another thing you can do is use good landing page software to help minimize those distractions and pull it all down so that the only thing they can do on that page is whatever you want them to do, whether it's contact you or sign up for something like that. So that's another option, or another thing that I see photographers do quite a bit. The other one is not following up with leads. I'll have photographers get leads through Facebook ads and be like, I sent them one email and I never heard back. It's like, well, how many times have you gotten an email and forgotten to get back to somebody right away, right? It happens. Follow up with them. A minimum of 3 to 5 times. Some say up to 9 times, or to keep following up until they actually get back to you and say, hey, fuck off, or like, oh yeah, I meant to get back to you, or something like that. So that's another thing that I see photographers do, is they just don't follow up with their leads, and that's another one that's a must. It's like, oh, Facebook ads didn't work. It's like, well, it did. It brought you the leads. You just never followed up with them and had good follow through. And another one that I see often is not having a good call to action. A call to action is basically something that tells somebody what action you want them to take. So if it's an ad, it could be sign up now, click here, check this out, or something like that. A lot of times what I'll see photographers do is say something like, I'm a so-and-so photographer in such and such a place, and I'll have a beautiful picture, wedding photography, but that ad never told them what they wanted the reader to do. They have no idea what they should do or what you want them to do. You know, do you want them to read a blog post? Do you want them to sign up for something? Use a clear call to action in your entire marketing funnel that tells people what you want them to do next. Sign up here, learn more, you know, connect with me here, and something like that. Be clear on how you lead those potential clients closer and closer to booking with you. So anyways, those are some of the biggest mistakes that I've seen photographers make, and some of the easiest ways that you can fix them and not fall prey to those accidents. So anyways, hope that was helpful.